Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Solaris Gaming Podcast. I almost called it the Northern Lights. That's a great start right there. But my name is Feardragon, and today I am joined here by three lovely gentlemen. How are all three of you guys doing today? Starting with Henry, since you are showing up latest, I believe.
Yeah, I was worried I would miss some of the show, but luckily, I guess we didn't really start yet, so I'm glad for that. And as for today, it's been okay. Just been a bit busy. Can't wait to talk about all these topics.
I'm looking forward to it, man. But just tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who exactly are you? Besides a very handsome Canadian gentleman.
Um, so I'm a Zerg player from Canada, and I'm playing for Complexity. Actually, I won a tournament that you, Feardragon, hosted last season, breaking out. I guess that's pretty much the gist of it. So I play tournaments sometimes, and I play Zerg. So yeah.
Fair enough. All right, and I'm gonna make you answer this on air. What is your reason for being late for the show?
I had to do some errands earlier, and just came out to take longer than I thought. So
Yeah, that's fair. We'll give you the pass on this one. You get one pass.
all right.
But of course, we also have some other guests, including MaSa, because we would not bring on hendralisk without bringing on his arch nemesis from Canada, who beats him in basically everything. Sorry, Henry. How you doing
Yeah.
today, man?
I'm just a little tired, and you have like the worst feeling when you're tired when you didn't do anything. So I have that feeling right now.
Oh, like that lethargic, tired.
Yeah.
All right, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you besides the person that is hendralisk's rival and arch nemesis?
Well, obviously you said MaSa. Maybe I was considerably one of the best turns in NA. Now I feel like I'm really bad. I will step up to it again, so look forward to me.
All right. And of course, move on to our final guest. It is going to be Puck. How are you doing today, man?
I'm tired as well, I guess.
Is this just
I've
a
been
thing that's
busy.
going around? Everybody's tired today.
I've just been very busy this whole month, I guess, with my old apartment flooding, moving to a new apartment, and then a bunch of other stuff, yeah. So,
That's not good. I mean, you saved your mouse and your keyboard, right? That's all that kind of matters.
yeah, it was my kitchen that flooded, and it smelled really bad.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was not fun.
Oh. Well, I know that you've also been busy because I mean, I'm sure that you have David Kim now on your cell phone. You have his number and everything because
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you actually got single-handedly in the matter of like 3 hours or something, a direct Reddit thread response to your balance complaints. So
I mean, what else is there to do I mean, I'm the best North American player, clearly. Like, Scarlett's nobody, but yeah, David Kim will listen to me like it's no big deal.
yeah, and that's exactly why we have you on the show, man. But with that being said, guys, welcome to all of the pillars that are going to be on the show. These guys should be reoccurring pillars, and they should be on for all the future shows. And of course, my name is Feardragon, but the person that you guys don't actually see is Current TV. He is the one doing all of the broadcasting and streaming and everything. So he's going to be showing you guys stuff like the brackets and everything. And for those of you who are maybe tuning in, maybe not that familiar, came in through the Team Liquid calendar event, or maybe just catching the VODs over on YouTube somehow, this is the North Star. It's going to be a podcast hosted by Solaris Gaming. And it's going to be really similar in format to State of the Game, Meta, etc., where we're going to just talk about stuff. But it's going to have a little bit more of a focus on North American players and the North American scene. As you can see, we have a North American kind of lineup over here. And I'm interested to just kind of jump into it. But we're actually going to be starting off a little bit further from home, from North America. We're going to be starting off with some recent events in Korea, starting it off with the Prime and MVP roster and team changes. Now, for those of you who guys don't know what happened, basically Prime has had the really weird situation happen. They actually dropped three of their really big players. Departure, Marine King, I think was the biggest surprise, and Salvation, and all of them have gone to MVP. But within like I think a couple of days, they also picked up a new sponsor. I think it was KTC, which is a communication and firefighting instrument company. So I mean, what do you guys think about like the kind of changes that have been going on with the rosters? Starting with, I don't know, let's say Puck.
I honestly don't pay attention to the Korean scene all that much, but it really surprises me. Like, it makes me sad because Prime always felt like a pillar team to me as I was going through the leagues and stuff like that. And I don't know, having Marine King leave Prime scares me quite a bit. But my friend, one of my best friends, is like, he just wants to drop out of StarCraft altogether because like he looked at Prime like his favorite team, absolute favorite, and without them, he just feels broken. But I don't know, maybe they'll pick up some great players coming up since they got a new sponsor. And I don't know any of the logistics behind the sponsorship at all, so I don't know how much they're actually getting, but hopefully it works out for them.
Yeah, fair. And I mean, like hendralisk. So do you think this is kind of just a normal team transition, and they also, you know, Prime is also picking up a sponsorship, so there's nothing to really be concerned about? Or do you think there's something more to this? Like, I don't know, is this like a sign that Prime isn't doing so well, or what?
I think out of everyone here who could be most accurate in guessing would be Maru because he can read the Korean boards and whatever. So like Puck, I don't really, I can't read that kind of news even if I wanted to. So I'm not too sure. I can only speculate.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, at least it's a good thing that the team didn't just disband or something, right? So as long as the players are finding new teams and they're getting new sponsors, Prime that is, then I'm not too sad or anything about it. And just have to see what happens in the future.
All right. Well, MaSa, it's been tossed off to you. How do you feel about this?
Well, I think it's one or the other, like 50-50, if Prime does well or really bad, because ranking, let's say, he wasn't doing too bad in Pro League. His win rate wasn't too terrible. It was close to 50%. And he was the team trademark. And, and if you really want to drop your trademark, that means you're bringing someone who's capable of replacing him. So in that case, it depends on whoever they pick up. So we gotta have to see the future right now.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. Just talking about, like you were saying, Marine King is one of the big players for Prime. I mean, who exactly do they have left? It's Beyond, Creator, Kasai, State, I suppose, and Terror. Like, that's not really a really big or, to be entirely honest, scary roster.
Yeah, it's pretty much only Creator because Beyond never really came back.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's training in the Himalayas until one day.
Make the miraculous return.
It's in the hyperbolic time chamber.
That must be I mean, he's actually spending years and years in the hyperbolic time chamber, because how long has Beyond been gone now?
Yeah.
I feel like he must have died in the hyperbolic time chamber at this point, just being an old man. But, you know, good for MVP. MVP does have a pretty strong looking lineup then. Considering, I guess they have Center, they have Lucira, or Congo, I guess as he's known, Marine King, Salvation, Symbol, Yonghua. So I'm kind of curious, how do you guys feel about their chances in Pro League? MaSa, you want to start off?
MVP?
Yeah.
Well, they pretty much dropped almost everybody they had, and even the players who actually were on the roster for Pro League. So
yeah,
and they said they're heavily rebuilding the team. I think the situation is the same to Prime. If they do good, they're going to do really good. But on the other hand, they can fail miserably. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I think that's enough of that, as I think for the most part, it seems like the general consensus is just kind of a couple of roster changes, and MVP is, they've picked up some strong players, but they've also lost quite a few. So we'll leave it at that. But moving on to the next order of business, we have Puck here to explain what are some of the balance concerns that have been happening, because we recently had a post on Reddit from David Kim saying he was going to address some balance changes with the hats that were introduced in one of the more recent patches. So, Puck, what was that about?
First off, serious question. is the hat tree moved yet?
I don't think so. No,
Okay. The only
Yeah, they
reason I
are.
made
They are.
they
they
are.
are awesome.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
the only reason I made the post was because when I was hiding a probe on Catalina, you could see the probe much easier because the party hat was like more visible. Like you'd have to try harder just to hide it. Like I'd have to use my right keyboard button to like change the direction of the camera just to like fully hide the probe. And I don't know, it was like that for a few days, and it just kind of got annoying to me. So I just felt like making a satire post about it. And then my friend that works at Blizzard messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, this is sick. I'm gonna email it to David Kim." And then soon enough, David Kim made a response. So
Yeah, so I get like the point of like the joke post and everything, but is that does kind of bring up the interesting topic of like skins and everything. And that is something that has been talked about a little bit in the past, but I know a lot of people still request skins to be there. But I know a lot of pro players also have issues with it. They want to be able to turn them off and everything. So I mean, what do you
yeah,
guys think about that?
my main issue with skins is, especially against Zerg, like the links, there it's like really hard to judge. And not only that, when it's like mass links, it makes my computer slow down. Like I get frame loss, and then I can't force it at all anymore. So I'm just sitting there trying to force it, and all of a sudden all the links are already inside, killing all my units, and there's nothing I can do. So I feel like if they want to have skins, they have to at least have the option for the opponent to at least turn them off. Because otherwise there's balance concerns to me personally, because it makes it a lot harder to judge.
Yeah, definitely. Maru, or sorry, yeah, Maru, do you have any issues with that kind of stuff?
Skins? Well, I
Yeah.
personally feel like skins have to be only visible to yourself, I guess. Because, like, sometimes it's really bothering. It's a little harder to focus fire the links if they have skins. And then the links just look really, really scary if they have the skin on. Unlike compared to, like, Marine. Marine just
Yeah.
looks easy, but links are really scary with the skin, so that's the only issue for me. It's a bit harder to focus fire
Yeah,
for some reason.
I think it has a lot to do with like when they have Zerglings have the big wings, they take up a lot more space, right? So when you have a big clump of Zerglings, suddenly it's really hard to tell like where the Zergling starts and where the Zergling ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Henry, how's that been going for you? Have you been winning a lot more events and games against Terran?
Well, in WCS you can't use skins, and I just stopped using skins after a while. I know it's annoying, and if you wanna, sometimes if your opponent might get annoyed, you might want to do that just to have the little edge that yeah, that's really easy to get. So, but for me personally, I don't really use skins, not Overlord or Zergling.
Yeah, that's fair. But I guess we'll move on to some more interesting stuff. Going on to some of the tournament stuff that's been happening. We actually had a really cool result. I don't know, did you guys happen to catch Gfinity? Maru, did you catch Gfinity as the local Terran on the podcast?
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell us a little bit what happened, because Bunny ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty big upset, because it was the first time in a really long time that a foreign Terran has won anything.
Yeah. Well, I really feel like the Bund is the best turn in Europe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I feel like Hyun didn't really do whatever he wanted. Maybe his condition wasn't good on TVG that day because and let's be honest, his micro was really terrible, and when I watched the game, he was keep on engaging off creep, and
Mm-hmm.
every Zerg should know that they don't want to engage off creep. So I guess he was a little, I don't know, maybe just his condition. But on the other hand, Bunny, he took that chance, and he never got Hyun to bring back the condition to start winning the game. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, and
So,
Bunny
yeah.
deserves that win. That's my call.
Yeah, and he had to go over some pretty strong players, right? he had to go over like a lot of Zerg players actually, especially.
Mhm.
So TLO, Snoot, and of course eventually Hyun. Um, but not that many Koreans. Do you think that had a little bit of the reason to do with why he won?
Um, I don't think it mattered if it was a Zerg player. Maybe Protoss player would have suffered them, but I think his TVG looks really good right now. So
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. How'd you feel about that, Hendrilisk?
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. Not, I mean, to see Hyun lose in the finals, because in the finals that's where stakes are highest, and
Hmm.
Hyun's usually just really good all around. So Bunny's TVZ is really good, but I still expected Hyun to win in the end. So
Hmm.
it was a good win for Bunny, that's for sure. And I just have to look forward to his next tournaments and see how he does versus the Zergs. You would expect him to just crush everyone, especially now that all the Terran units are buffed. So just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's really interesting because to be entirely honest, like I think maybe a lot of pro players had a better feel for, how good Bunny was, but I sort of just felt like Bunny was just one of those other players. And he kind of came out of nowhere. If I looked at that initial bracket or like that player list, I would not have pegged Bunny as being one of the people that would make even like a top four or, obviously a top two finish. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about it, Puck?
I think it's kind of fortunate that he got to play TVZ every single game in the playoffs, just because I know people are like, well, that's kind of fortunate for the Zerg player because they can study their play, but at the same time, I feel like if you're playing the same matchup over and over again, it's easier to get comfortable and play at your best.
Hmm.
So, I mean, there's many logistics behind that and counter arguments, but I just feel like if you're playing the finals for the first time, it would suck to go into a whole different matchup that you haven't been warming up for, playing it all that day.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
and actually on that note, like MaSa, do you feel like there was anything that Bunny was even doing that could be really exploitable just because he was doing it over and over and over again?
not really.
Hmm.
Yeah, his builds are usually focused on macro. So
Yeah, and just clearing out the creep then.
mhm.
That's fair. So I'm actually kind of wondering then, like, does map pool have a lot to do with like Terrans feeling a little bit better, or like what
Map
is it?
pool?
Like, is it the map pool that's helped, like the way that the maps are laid out, or something that's helping creep spread be kept down, or like what is Bunny doing that other Terrans aren't?
Definitely he knows how to push down the creeps. Like lately I have been putting down zero mines in poor placement and I end up not being able to push the creep wall. But his widow mine placement is almost like port. It's just where it's supposed to be. So with that he has chance to clear the creeps and yeah.
All right, fair enough. But I'm pretty interested to see like how exactly Bunny's going to be doing in the next couple of months. Just seeing because I feel like there's oftentimes we do have players who will do really really well at one event, and then they kind of fall off. And to be, I think was it Vortex that won like an Aces ROG or something a while ago. And then after that, I didn't really see him do that. Like he wasn't like really beating a lot of Koreans or like winning tournaments left and right or anything afterwards. Just kind of won that, and then he started doing kind of okay-ish again. So I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think that's going to be the case, Hendralisk?
Sorry, the case for what? Oh, you mean
Oh
for Bunny?
yeah, for Bunny.
Well, I think Vortex is still number one or number. I guess I would put Snoot as number one and Vortex number two. So he's definitely up there in terms of Zerg in Europe.
Hmm.
I think it would Sibani probably follow a similar path where he still beats everyone in Europe consistently, but maybe he might not be able to win another big tournament real soon just because of how tough it is to make it to the end and win it. So
Yeah.
something similar, I would say.
Yeah, and this tournament actually, it was something that a lot of people were talking about. It had just a very few number of people actually in it. It was an invite only, I think, right? It was sorry, it was mostly invites. It was 9 invited players, and then 3 that made it through the qualifier. So, do you think this is sort of just like a bit of a lucky thing for Bunny to make it through, or I know MaSa, you were already saying that you felt like it was pretty well deserved. Bunny's probably one of the best Terran players in Europe, or I'm not sure if you said just the
Yeah, I
forums.
see Europe.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you feel like it was just because of the format, like there weren't that many other players involved, or?
Kind of, but in that case, we have to see how he does in the later tournaments with more people. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can say anything right now.
I think Bunny did pretty well, to be honest. I don't think it was by luck at all. He's a very
Mhm.
good player, absolutely. And if you look at the qualifier that he had to go through patience, sleep in Armani.
Yeah.
So it's not just some random luck. It's based off of pure skill. It's just some
Mhm.
days you have really good days, and some days it won't go as well. But I feel like
Mhm.
online tournaments are also a lot easier. So the qualifier online is probably a bit easier for him, so he can play at his best.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there was no luck at all.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense, and that's a really good point. He did make it through the qualifiers, so he didn't exactly have a just some sort of easy invite and then kind of get lucky with the brackets, right? Had to work for that. But cool, that's Gfinity, and we can move on to WCS America. And WCS America has been going on. We've had some pretty interesting matches that have already happened. Some sort of results between groups A through E, and I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on just how the games have been going so far in Premier League this season. So I don't know, Puck, how do you feel? How have you been feeling about it?
I think the games have been kind of surprising. Like, I think Neve and Guitarchi is especially along with Igas, and especially well. But Arium almost made it as well. Unfortunate
Yeah.
for Illusion, because he's a very good player if he practices a lot as well.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's still me, Scarlet, Hendralisk, and and Major. I feel like any of us can make it all the groups as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and that would actually be really cool, right? Because we already have what Neeb is like one foreign player, Igaz and Jim, and then Huck. So we already have 4 players who are advancing onto the playoffs that are all foreigners, which is it's kind of weird, right? That we're saying WCS America 4 players that advance on to the playoffs already, but that's kind of surprising, right? So with the remaining 3 groups, there looks like there's going to be a good chance for at least a couple more to go through. So I'm kind of just wondering. So Group F, Heart, Tudming, Scarlet, and Seed. Who do you feel is going to be making it out, Puck?
Uh, I don't know. Probably Art, for sure. Then I feel like it could be like a toss-up between the rest of them. Because if I recall correctly, then Two Main beat Scarlet before WCS. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
It was a
Then
2-0.
Seed's Then Seed's kind of a wild card, I feel. Like
Mhm.
you have no idea how well he's gonna play, so
Yeah. How do you feel about it, MaSa, Hendralisk?
Yeah, I think Hart would make it out, and the rest is probably I would say probably Scarlet, but then you never know what the other 2 are gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be Hart and Scarlet out of that group.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe Scarlet will overcome her previous loss from Tudming and just go Protoss again. All in. That's actually a really interesting thing. Like, right? She's been playing Protoss more and more lately, from what I hear. I know that she actually did it in the WCS qualifier for Challenger League against a couple of people. Have you guys been
Yeah,
able to catch any of that?
but those guys weren't anywhere near the level of
Mm-hmm.
Tudming or Seed.
Well, MLG Anaheim should beat, what was it? DRG?
Yeah, but that's in one game.
that was very
Yeah.
fortunate.
It was
But I feel like those are
Hitman
only like
strap.
one-time use only.
Yeah, DRG wasn't playing that great too.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can kind of understand why. Like I started playing Opera's Zerg for a while, and it gave me a lot more motivation to play. Like it was a lot of fun. And I like learning new styles, and I mean, if you enjoy the game more while playing, you might as well operate a little bit as well. Because a lot of the practice comes just with like practicing your accuracy and speed. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you guys feel it would be a viable thing? Like, let's say in WCS, for I don't know, next season or something, you get put in a group of say all Terrans or all Protoss or all Zerg, and there's only one matchup that everyone's expecting to prepare for. Would that be a situation where you'd be like, well, let me go for like I'll offer a Zerg against this player because they're just not going to be prepared for it. Is there any situation you guys think you would do that?
No, I don't think that would ever happen, even if the rules allowed it, which I'm not too clear on.
Yeah, that'd be. It wouldn't be good. Like you can do it with Protoss, simply because like there's some builds that you can execute and do it super early and are super strong. But
Mhm.
other than that, if that doesn't work, you can't just transition. Like it would be almost impossible. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
you can't do that with Terran or Zerg, like Nexus Gate into 8 Gate, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that Scarlet's been doing has been an all-in, to be entirely honest. So, I guess that does make more sense. That you can't. It's not something you can just kind of pick up. Um, but all right, let's move on to the next group, which I think is going to be an interesting group because, Hendralisk, you're going to be playing in that. How are you feeling about the games that are going to be going on?
Oh, I don't really like my group, simply
Why?
because the first player I play is Teja,
It'll be
and
fun.
then, wow, it's I feel more confident if there's 3 Zergs, for example, but it's Teja.
Hey,
Yeah.
Teja lost to Leenock recently, so I mean, he's beatable, right?
I actually watched those games. Yeah, he's apparently, he said he had some wrist problems. He had to forfeit a tournament too.
Mhm.
So versus me, it'll depend how badly his wrists are gonna put him in terms of gameplay. But I would still feel he's Teja. So when he plays tournaments outside of Korea, which is most of them, he does exceedingly well.
Mhm.
And I'm not as confident in my versus Terran or Protoss recently, since some qualifiers I'm doing not so well. But versus Zerg is okay, so maybe at the very least, if I lose to Teja, I can probably play a ZVZ, maybe, and then see what I do after that. But also, it's because in my group, I have to play versus 3 races as well.
Yeah.
So I have to think carefully of what I want to do versus each guy.
So it sounds like you've already kind of said, like, if you lose to Teja, you're going to play a ZVZ. So you think that Hero's just going to beat Zigua then?
Well, I would feel more confident in the ZVZ, so hopefully, and then
Okay.
if I can win that, I can get a rematch, or not a rematch, hopefully not, and then try to pull a fast one on Hero or something. I don't know. But yeah, overall, I feel the group is really tough, for me, anyways.
Mhm.
Especially because the first player you play is, I would say, one of the top few players in the whole thing. That it's if you lose, let's say, really quickly 2-0, then it's not good for your confidence.
Mhm.
And anyone would rather play an easier opponent. So, but then you can't change it. So I have to deal with that. Prepare accordingly.
I don't know. I think you're kind of fortunate, to be honest with you. Like,
Whoa.
I don't know how good Zigua is. Like I have no idea. But for Hero, like all he's been playing lately is PvZ, and he has not been feeling comfortable with that matchup at all. Like most of the series he's been losing. So
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, that's good for me, maybe.
like
Yeah.
Teja's of course gonna be really hard, but I mean if you
Uh-huh.
can make it through the losers match, you'll probably have a really good shot.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I guess, yeah, fortunately, as you said, or fortunately for me, Hero's been not doing that great in PvZ. I still, when I first saw the group on paper, I was just thinking, wow, Hero, Teja, the names popped out at me first. Why are they in my group?
Yeah, I can understand that. So I have a question. Like, we're talking about 2 Koreans and a Chinese player. I assume they're not going to be listening to this podcast, or don't know anybody listening to this. Do you have any like special things that you're going to try and prepare for these guys, or?
Well, I'm obviously gonna prepare for them, but I would not disclose what I would do beforehand. So
All right,
just
that's fair enough.
Fear
something.
Drains got paid to try and
Yeah, nice try,
all of your
Team Liquid.
plans.
Shoot, we're in the Team Liquid jersey too.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
It-
All right, guys, we're gonna shut down the podcast. It's over. It didn't work. Shut it down.
this channel has been closed.
This channel. That was what Solaris Gaming was really trying to do this entire time. It's all been a front for Team Liquid. But no, so I actually want to ask you about this. As like a Protoss player, what is it about heroes like PvZ or just like his play in general? He seems so. Sometimes he's like super on point, and other times he's super off point. Like this has been the case for a really long time, but I feel like lately it's mostly just been kind of off point.
I don't know. Hero's kind of interesting. Like he does crazy strategies all the time. And I feel like if you do crazy strategies too much, it may just throw you off in general. Because then you'll start thinking that nothing works for you. You know, you'll just start having that mindset.
Yeah.
And I feel like in PvZ, you either have a strong all-in or you have a very safe macro build. And there's like no in between. Because if you get caught out, I feel like it'll just snowball in Zerg's favor because then they can drone up really heavily. Because if Protoss loses like 4 units early in because of early aggression, then there's like no counter push for Protoss to do again.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, really quickly, just going down the line, Puck, who do you think is going to be the top 2 coming out of the group? Ignore the fact that one of the group members is in the call right now.
Asia, then the rest is a toss-up. Honestly, I don't know how good Zigua is, and I know that hero's been suffering PvZ, so
All right. MaSa?
Well, like Puck said, Hero has been suffering PvZ, but on the other hand, Henry has been suffering from ZVP.
Oh my god.
So
Oh, but this is way more important. So
yeah,
still, I don't know though.
you can't prepare for Henry though.
I'm
Yeah.
same thoughts as Puck. Teja definitely, and then I really don't know how good Zigo is as well. So yeah, either 3 of them.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
So all of you guys just said Teja, and then I don't know.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay, fine. I'm gonna let you guys pass on this one, but Group H, you guys are gonna have to answer because we have Puck. How are you feeling about Group H, the group that you got placed in? You seemed a little bit bitter, a little bit salty that Hengel's got to play against maybe Zigua, and you have Major, Slam, and Bomber.
I don't know. Historically, I've always been good PvZ, but sometimes I'll stump in it for like maybe a couple of days and I'll come back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But versus Terran, it's been historically my weakest, but like I can also show very good games. And I recently beat Major in the most recent tournament that I played him in. Actually, that was at Rebel, so that wouldn't be the most recent one, but most recent time I played him. But I really haven't had time to practice. Like I've been traveling, and I got home from China, and then like 3 days later, my apartment flooded. And that took like a week just to get it all sorted out and figured out. Then the smell just stayed there, and I haven't really felt good enough to really play besides qualifiers. That's like the only thing I touched.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started moving, so I've been without internet, or I've been having to carry a bunch of stuff. And honestly, today is going to be the first day that I've been able to practice really like hardcore. So, I mean, it doesn't take me more than a couple days to get back into really good shape. So I think that my chances are still very, very high. Like I look at my group and I'm like, well, it's beatable. I don't have to play Bomber first, so it's not like I'm going to be set back super hard right away. Like I'll play Major, which Major is super good, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather take my chances against Major over Bomber.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I have good practice partners, and so, I mean,
yeah,
I'll be playing a lot of PvT the next few days, so.
Yeah, sure. And I kind of have a question, and this is more for everybody. One thing that I've always been really interested in is how player preparation kind of goes for things like WCS and everything. So how you said like, okay, you feel like you have a short period of time to prepare for this. How much time do you usually want to prepare for a match? Like as important as WCS, which I assume is always going to be like one of the biggest priorities, right?
I don't like to prepare too much, actually. To be honest with you, like this is usually about the time where I actually start looking into things, like in all my previous WCS history. Simply because I feel like if I look into a player too much, I'm gonna be expecting these sorts of things way too much, and I'll maybe predict things that I shouldn't because everyone's gonna be studying me as well, so they might change up their build orders to prepare for me. And it's just gonna be some kind of
Yeah.
huge mess. Like I'll look for resemblances in all their plays and what they like to do most commonly, but I won't read into it too much. But overall, like if I have to prepare for majority of like one matchup, I'll be playing that matchup more often, like before a few days. You know, like I'll generally start a couple weeks.
Yeah. How about you, MaSa? I mean, I generally consider you to be one of those players that gets in people's head. So I mean, do you feel like that's something that you like to do a little bit earlier on, like, or is it just it's just a natural thing that you get in people's heads?
It's kind of natural, but let's say if you prepare a week before the matchup, you can start forgetting stuff about about the about the opponent, and then I feel like you only need a few days, really, to practice against a specific matchup. And then learning opponent isn't too hard actually, because we have internet, we have everything available to learn. So
Yeah, fair enough. Same answer for you, Henry, or anything different?
No, I spend a lot longer, but I do it as close as to the date as possible. I mean, if it's like a one best of five versus someone that you know you're gonna play, instead of like
Like
you
group
can't really
stage.
prepare. Yeah, you can't really prepare as well as you would if you only know one opponent. So that's the majority of my preparations, I guess. But yeah, I try not to overdo it because if you overthink anything, you might psych yourself out, or it might give you a negative impact. So yeah, don't overdo it, but don't underdo it.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's kind of interesting topic that you brought up, which actually transitioned into the next topic pretty well, which is you're saying how it's harder to prepare for the group stages, and it makes me think back to like WCS Challenger League with the new season that started up or the new format. You have brackets, and you just play a best of five against an opponent and determines whether or not you go to Premier League or Challenger League. So we've seen like a lot of different changes with the format. How are you guys feeling about WCS this season? We've been able to experience like a good chunk of the new format and everything. So I don't know. Are you liking it, Henry?
It's been an improvement over the old, where now I think the region lock is, or as far as region locking goes, if you want to get into WCS, you have to go through a qualifier, and you can only have one shot at it. I mean, for people out of this region. So it's really hard to get in. But once you're in Premier League, it's really easy to get grandfathered, and you'll just be there every season. So it'll be like, it's sort of like half region locked, where every season in Challenger you can get new guys in, but the people who stay, such as Hard or something, they'll always be there. So that the region lock doesn't affect them much. And as far as region locking goes by itself, it's kind of like a two-sided thing where on one hand you have, you know, I mean, it's not really a regional tournament if every region is just full of one region's players. But then on the other hand, you're like, you can't just be entitled to whatever. So, yeah, I think the format's been better than it was in the past. It's not like 2012, obviously, but I would say it's in the middle ground. And yeah, okay.
Yeah. What kind of changes would you like to see then to
Well,
improve it further?
or if from a player's perspective, obviously you don't want you want not as tough competition for your own chances. So I would say for the majority of NA players, they prefer if there would be more region locking. And as far as spectators, if you're a spectator, you might just want to see the best. And in that case, no region locking. So personally, obviously, as a player, I wouldn't want to play Teja first round. Rather play like if my group was all American flags or something, that'd be a nicer sight. Mm, but yeah, I think as a whole, it's sort of okay with this middle ground. Uh, but I'm just curious on how well, any change they make, I just hope they can make it so that they promote their game better and have more viewership in. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
Right, yeah. Also, how do you feel about it?
Oh, I really have no ideas on how I would change the format right now. But I don't think it's too bad, as Henry said. It's like in between. But I was hoping they could have done region lock earlier, so a lot more foreigners have chance to be in right now. Because let's see in this Premier League. Actually, this season there's a lot of people. But last season there was only like 1/3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This
I was
season
gonna
it was
say, yeah. There's like a lot. I know that there have been a lot of complaints about like we want to see more region locking, but yeah, we were talking about it earlier. There's a lot of foreigners who have already made it out of the group stages for Premier League. There's gonna be a absolute minimum of at least one more coming out of Group H, either Major, Pucker, or Slam. I don't know. Do you feel like that's really the case then?
Well, I feel like if they did region lock a bit earlier, let's say season 2, it would have this foreigner scene, and then season 3 we would have more foreigners coming in. So it would have been better for WCS America, for the foreigners.
Yeah, like if WCS is the most important tournament a player would have, and it's for me in the past before they changed the formats, the first time I tried to qualify because I wasn't invited by seeding based on 2012 WCS, I had to play Teja and Hart and I lost in those. So I'm just trying to say if it's really really tough where there's no region lock, you can be discouraged as a player to even try. So not only would you have a hard chance even trying to qualify, but if you don't make it, you'll probably get discouraged as a player, since it is the most important tournament here. And if you're not in it, it's like, well, good luck. So,
what do you
yeah.
do for the next couple of months, right?
Yeah, players, I find over time, because of this format, is one of the factors that cause some players to give up on, just competing. So they just feel it's not really worth it to keep trying if it won't happen, because you have to play all these tough Koreans in the qualifiers alone. Yeah, but it's been better since then. So I hope Blizzard can just make the right choices in the future.
Puck, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's almost fine the way it is right now. To be honest, like I feel like there's still maybe a few too many Koreans. But like if I was to change it or try to fix it a little bit, I would require a lot more games to be played on the North American server by Koreans, just because it's like 200 games is like nothing, especially when they win every single game. So, I mean, if you only have foreigners or people from North America, South America, then you're gonna get a bunch of low quality games up until like maybe the round of 8, where it's gonna be very one-sided and people aren't gonna really want to watch it. It'll just be a game of throws, almost every single game. Like you'll see someone get a huge lead and they'll just throw it, and it'll just be kind of weird. It'll annoy people, and it's nice to have Koreans actually being in the tournament. Simply because it's good practice, because people from North America don't really get to play against Koreans too often in tournaments. And like if you beat a Korean, it's like awesome, like everyone freaks out about it. So
yeah,
it's nice to have that.
So this actually goes to like a different point, but I know one thing that a lot of people kind of criticize is the 200 game thing for foreigners or whatever, everyone has to play a certain number of games to be in Premier League, right? Or in the WCS system.
Yeah.
Do you think it's really just a matter of there's not enough games that need to be played? So like if it was 500 or, something like that, would that solve the problem that people are facing with it?
I don't know. I'd look more like at a number like 400. 500 is quite a lot of games actually
Yeah.
to be played on one server, especially if it's North America.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like 200 is way too low though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. How do you, Henry and MaSa, feel about that? Like increasing the number of games required?
Well, for that, it's only just for a wildcard qualifier. When you have the requirement is a higher one, you obviously get better practice. Because any server as a whole, I've noticed since the beginning of this year, like all the pro NA players don't even play on the server anymore. So the practice level is very low. You only have amateur players. That's filling up the top of the ladder. Whereas in Europe and Korea, that's not even the case. Like it'll be very rare for it to be. So obviously, with a higher win rate, win requirement, it's better practice for the server as a whole. And on the other hand, it could be kind of discouraging for those players too, because in the one qualifier they have, there's only 2 spots from it, and there's from what I remember in the last wildcard qualifier, there was like 10 Koreans or something. So the people who don't make it, they're just like, oh, I'm not in WCS, and what am I gonna do? But yeah, for practice, for the topic of practice, it's definitely more beneficial if it was say 400 players, or sorry, 400 wins.
I also feel like, sorry for cutting you off. Like,
Oh.
I think it's fine for it to be discouraging though. Like, that'll make it so a lot less top Koreans even try for. Like, if they see a bunch of other people, then they'll be like, maybe this isn't what I want to do. And then it'll weed out the Koreans maybe a little bit more as well.
Yeah, it'll definitely cut that down. It's just, from earlier, they're already in. So, like, every time you see top 16 from the former season, it's like, what, 13 or so Koreans.
Yeah, the grandfather effect, right?
Yeah.
For each season.
So basically, the old ones are here to stay, and the new ones are, it's hard to enter, pretty much.
Well, I mean, we are seeing like that's like the interesting thing though, right? And that's what makes it really interesting this season in particular, because we had like a bunch of really crazy upsets already, where Arthur got knocked out 0-2, Alicia and Nesty got knocked down. Like all these players are going to go into the Challenger League. Oz, of course, then Revival got 2-0'd by Ariam even. Like, there's been a lot of Koreans that are getting like knocked further down. Do you guys think that like over time, the Koreans like that are in there will eventually just have maybe like a bad season or two, and they will eventually start to fall out?
That's very possible. So, for example, this season, I would say the biggest ones would be like Nesty, Alicia, and Revival.
Yeah.
Well, Oz and MaxA just got really tough draw, but I think in the Challenger match, that's their second life, let's say, in this WCS, where they can still have a shot to get back in. And I think once they get back in, it'll be okay, considering they don't get another tough draw like a Group C. So basically, to get out of WCS from getting grandfathered, you have to lose in these 2 stages. And it's unlikely for a player like Alicia, who finished round of 4, to get knocked out both times. Because in WCS Challenger, you're seeded based on WCS points and some other things. So that means, for Alicia, he's going to get someone who's fairly new. Most likely, Alicia would win that match to get back in. So, yeah.
So that does actually bring up an interesting question of, would you guys rather, instead of having any grandfather effect, like just have it so that each season's completely independent? Every season, you just have players that are qualifying through Challenger League, and then the players are like, I don't know, either less people are qualifying in, or just a complete reset. There's no players that are in from the previous season. Like, would you guys prefer that format?
Oh, if they make it so that there's less or even none, then you have to make sure the qualifying process is more fair than just the one best of 5. That's like a radical change up. It also requires more work on the tournament organizers' behalf. So I don't think it might be a good idea to some, but I don't see it happening. So there's not really too much to theorycraft about it.
Like
That's
I could see like a change, but not something that drastic.
That drastic.
Simply because we're going into a new year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, at the end of the year, I'm trying to remember. Do you guys know like what ended up happening at the end of the WCS year after like the grand finals? Was it a reset of the system and who was allowed in and who wasn't? Or did players that were in Premier League from 2013 get brought back into Premier League for 2014?
Yeah, they did, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you guys think that would be a nice reset point? And then if Blizzard wanted to add in more region locking to, I guess, remove the players that were in Premier League at that point, at the end of 2014?
But then if you do such a big reset, it gives you the chance for a more unbalanced or imbalanced region distribution in terms of player. Like, you know, if you completely reset it, that just gives the people who can't get in based on wildcard a chance to get in. And then maybe you'll have even more Koreans qualify through that because it's complete reset.
Mm-hmm. That's actually that's actually a really interesting thought. It'd be the qualifiers to become even maybe more challenging. But all right, I think we're going on a tangent of a tangent of a tangent of a tangent. So really quickly, I want to get everyone's thoughts. Group H of WCS. Puck, what's your prediction?
me and Bomber. I don't
All
know.
right, I think that's a fair one. MaSa?
Yeah, I really think it's same situation as Group G,
Mm-hmm.
because Bomber's a finalist and he's been consistently good lately, so I think he's gonna get out. And Puck, I believe he has good chance against Major.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Slam. Although I lost to him, is I don't think he will be able to beat Bomber and the loser of Puck and Major. So I think it's Bomber and either Puck or Major.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Bomber and either Puck or Major. Because Major's been on a tear lately, beating Pulse 5-0 and some other matches too. But then, you know, Puck said he's good historically versus Major. So yeah, it depends on who's playing better that day, I would feel. But Bomber, being a finalist, is probably going to take first place, like a
Yeah.
Teja would. And then it's a toss-up between the other two players, because I feel Slam is just a bit outclassed here. Yeah, I would say for second it would be Puck or Major. Can't really tell. Because I'm not a Protoss or a Terran, so I don't know. Even if I watch their games, who would be favored? I mean, from beforehand. So same
Yeah.
as MaSa, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think with that, we're pretty much set with WCS, unless you guys have any final thoughts on things that you would change about WCS or anything of the sort. You guys are pretty happy with it then, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe if they brought back 2012 version, that'd be cool too. Actually, never mind, because Canada's really hard, so never mind. I take back what I said.
Yeah, man, you'd have to face MaSa in the finals.
No, there's like Kane, Scarlet, and other people
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
It's hard.
that's true. All right. Well then, let's move on from WCS to another event, and it is actually Destiny. And Destiny's tournament has been going on, and similar to this season of WCS, there have actually been a decent number of kind of upsets going on with foreigners versus Koreans. Have any of you guys been able to catch any of it, MaSa?
A little bit. I only watched Major versus Port because that was my most interest in it. But
Mhm.
seeing Kane beat, what was it, Hero, and he even beat Life.
Oh yeah, Kane
Yeah.
2-0'd his. It's hard to say who he played because Destiny has a really weird format for the groups.
Yeah.
He's doing like the
No,
old
it's round
school-
robin. He played everyone,
Yeah.
and he won 3-0.
Yeah, which I, I think he only needed to win 2-0, but yeah, he ended up winning 3-0.
So he gets a better seed.
Only dropped one game to Life. And then there was also like Major who made it over Polt, 2-0 versus 2-1, and he actually 2-0'd Polt.
Yeah, but he 3-0'd
Yeah.
Polt like the day before in IEM, so
Yeah.
I guess he's got his number now, maybe.
And then I think the biggest surprise of them all was Adonminus beating Innovation in a best of 3. Did you guys happen to catch that?
No, not me, but I'm kind of curious to see how those games went. I know Innovation just finished his GSL that day, but you know, Innovation's a player who practices a lot, so I don't think playing a GSL would fatigue him too much, where he
Yeah.
could lose to Dominus. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened in those games.
So, MaSa, do you want to go over that?
Well, I feel like he already got out of the group with 2 against Nut and 2 against Atreus. So I feel like he was just fooling around really. But if I were him, I wouldn't really want the loss on the record. But on the other end, he had the GSL matchup, so he might as well make the opponent think that you're easier than you. Yeah, that you look easier. So I guess it's his meta game, and he got out of the group. So.
Huh. So you really think that's like an advantage of making yourself not seem as intimidating? I would think it'd be the opposite. Like there's an intimidation factor in facing Innovation. Like you don't want to even do that, and I feel like people are feeling even more nervous.
Yeah, or maybe to add on to what Brown said, or maybe he just wanted Snoot and Petraeus to not join the playoffs even. But then it's TVZ is really good, so I'm not sure. Because, you know, like, if he's already out of the group, he might just want, to him, seemingly the weakest player to get out too, to make the later stages easier. But then I don't think he'd throw a best of 3 for that, maybe.
I don't think that would make much sense because, like, if that's the case, then why would I don't feel like Innovation would get matched with the same people.
Oh yeah, until the finals maybe. So I guess not.
Maybe we should also go over like what happened in those games. So there was like game 1 that Adonymous actually won versus Innovation, and I'm gonna be entirely honest. I was at work during it, so I only heard the audio for it. But what it sounded like, maybe MaSa can correct me or give a more detailed explanation, but it was like actually looking to be like a relatively even-ish game. But Innovation was also Adonymous was going for a much more Phoenix-based style, right, in this PBT. And Innovation decided to like lift up a bunch of his units like into multiple medevacs and go for a drop. And Adonymous had just had a bunch of Phoenix and just killed them off. And just went on to win the game. That's kind of what I understood. Like, is that kind of what happened, MaSa?
I couldn't really catch the games too.
Okay. I thought you did.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
heard what happened. Like that, all the Phoenix just catching the medevac.
Puck, did you get a chance?
I haven't been at a computer.
Okay.
In the past week, so.
Well, the interesting story then is Innovation ended up winning game 2, and I think people were like, okay, well, it was just a fluke. Game 3, what ended up happening was I'm trying to remember what the map was, but it was it was a 4-player map, but Innovation didn't realize it was only cross spawns enabled, and Adonman is proxy 2 gated, and Innovation just didn't scout it and just died.
So the 2 losses you said, which was Medevacs getting surprised by Phoenix and not knowing the map spawns and losing the 2 gate, it's just more of a bad luck thing, I feel. And Innovation being the player he is, I don't think he's too affected by that. So.
All right, fair enough. But still, I mean, we've seen quite a few other upsets. I think today also Huck made it out of his group over MC and Violet. I mean, he was in a group with 3 Koreans and he made it out second. I think that's still like pretty good, even if it is Huck, and we always expect good things of him.
I don't think it's too much of an upset. I don't know. Huck has historically done well against MC. And Huck often plays against Violet all the time, so it's like easy to metagame each other. So it's like it can go either way. And Huck is actually a very good player. Sometimes he'll have an off tournament, but a lot of the time he can play very well. So.
All right. But you know, we have 4 Koreans and 4 foreigners that made it out of the group. How do you guys feel about that? You feel like it was all just kind of lucky, or I don't even want to say lucky, because that implies that there wasn't a lot of skill involved, especially. And I think you'd be pretty silly to deny the skill like of Kane and Major making it out undefeated in their groups. But But I don't know, like, what do you guys think about that?
I don't think any of it was luck. Like they're all very good foreigners. Like Major's really good. Kane, you don't really see much of him, but I'd almost put him on par with Scarlet. Maybe not as quite experienced,
Mhm.
but I'm more surprised about Snoot going out more than anything else.
Yeah.
So that's the only like everything else just seemed expected from my perspective.
Mhm.
Except for maybe Poe to Major. Maybe that's the only big upset to me.
Yeah. First series of the first day. But
Yeah. Of course, Kane beating Liv as well. That's pretty good as well. So
yeah, can we talk about that? Because Kane, I feel like, has just been this guy that people are like, oh yeah, he's a really good North American, but a lot of people don't seem to really give him like the due credit that maybe he deserves. Because I mean, beating Life and Hero, I know we talked about Hero having trouble with PvZ lately, but still, like if when you come out 3-0 in your group against with a Life and Hero in it, what is up with Kane? Like, so I think Puck, you were just saying like you think he's on par with Scarlet. How do you MaSa and hendralisk feel about him? Starting with MaSa.
Oh, well, I think Scarlet's a bit better, but yeah, he's as good as him from my experience as
Mhm.
well.
For me, I know Kane. Kane is like Betrayers. They play tons of games every season. So, from doing that in North America, he's recently well, not recently, but he's been training in Taiwan for a while now, and
Mhm.
also Europe, I think, before. I can't
Yeah,
remember. Yeah,
he was in
so
Europe for a war.
yeah, so he's just coming off from his training in the Himalayas, and he's showing it now in the tournaments that he can play with the best. So it's good to see that because you don't want to train a lot and then don't see improvement. So it's a good thing for Kane for sure. So I'm looking forward to how he plays. I think for rating him, I'll put him on par with Scarlet.
Mhm.
Maybe sometimes less experience in tournaments and might lose some games where just because of that, sort of like Arium versus Hug kind of thing. So
Yeah.
also they're really close.
I've always saw as Kane as a very interesting person though, because like he'll perform very well on ladder, but he'll never do tournaments. Like he never signs up for them. He doesn't seem to care that much. Like he'll maybe try qualifier
Yeah,
every once
he's
in a while.
I guess he just tries to save up or something. I don't know. But yeah, I do notice that too.
Hmm. That's really interesting. I've always also wondered about that. Like, I feel sometimes there'll be players who say like there's not enough events going on, but then I see a lot of different like, especially like North American events and stuff, at least smaller ones that players just don't sign up for. Do you guys feel like there's a lot of value in not really like worrying about any even smaller tournaments until the big one? Until like whatever big WCS match or DreamHack or whatever that you're going to be playing in.
Well, for me, I think if you're not a established player like Huck or Scarlet, or someone who can play at that level, then you should definitely try out for those kind of daily cups or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kane's just like weird that he does, that he's really good, but he doesn't
Yeah.
play as much as he should in tournaments. Just feels like it's giving him less opportunities to show his game and perform well on them. But it's up to him, of course, in the end. And if he feels that's what's best, then it's his life. He can do it.
I don't know. Maybe the Destiny tournament will make him want to play more because like I see Kane play in tournaments every once in a while. Like he'll try one qualifier, and if he doesn't do well, then he won't do the next one.
Mhm.
And like he'll usually go out to some player that's maybe a couple tiers below him, and then I don't know. But like this is the first time where you could say he beat a player a couple tiers above him, which I think he has potential to do quite often, and maybe he'll get motivation to try more often now.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
Well,
that would
lately
actually.
he's been in EU and Taiwan, so I guess that's why
Yeah,
he wasn't really showing up in tournaments.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now, like if I've seen Kane participate in like Zotac Cups or anything lately, though, right? Because I still feel like there's some things going on.
I don't think you'd see him in those. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, whatever he's doing, it's working out for him. So I guess we can't really deny that. I'm really curious though. How do you guys feel about moving into the qualifiers or sorry, the not the qualifiers, the playoffs? There's gonna be 8 players, as I said, 4 Koreans, 4 foreigners. Do you guys see or predict any of the foreigners making it to the finals? Major
think-
key? No.
I think anyone beside, like, I don't mean to put anyone down, but like I don't know enough about Anonymous, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean I feel like anyone else could actually potentially make it out, depending on who they match up with.
Wait, that wasn't a put down at all. You
Oh,
just-
I singled someone out, so I feel bad.
Oh,
'Cause I don't
okay, yeah.
know enough about them.
Okay, that's fair. All right. MaSa, hendralisk, do you guys have any favorites at least that you think are like the most likely to make a deep run or maybe even win the tournament?
Uh,
Well,
MaSa, we'll start with you.
well, I don't know how the brackets will be set up. I really think
Yeah.
like it's gonna depend on who they verse, because the players have the favorite opponent, or rather favorite races.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Well,
think it'll be
I guess-
first place against second place. in the
Yeah.
Olympics, right?
But that's also hard to tell, right? Because now you still have like it's Major and Kane as first seeds for foreigners, Innovation Apocalypse as first seeds for like as Koreans, but then you also have like Pult and Life as second seeds, which almost doesn't make sense if you say that out loud. Is that Pult and Life are like the lower seeds? They're seated equally along Anonymous and Huck. So
I don't know. I think regardless, all the games will be pretty good. So
yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And I think that's going on for North Americans, since this is a North American podcast, tomorrow morning at like 6 or 7 in the morning or something Pacific.
It's in 12 hours, it says.
Yeah, so about 7 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense then.
well, for us, it's like
yeah,
9.
for you guys it's a little bit easier. I have to wake up super early for it. Oh, all right. Well, that is going to be Destiny. And with that, we can move on to something that just happened very, very recently and is actually still going on. At least it's going to be going on tomorrow. And that's a Red Bull Battlegrounds Global. Now, the Red Bull Battlegrounds Global, for those of you who don't know, it actually uses a different system than a lot of the other tournaments because it's not actually so much to speak of a normal bracket tournament with group stages and all that stuff. Instead, you have actually, well, Puck, do you want to explain this? Because you've actually participated in one of these.
you were saying earlier that you feel like no one's getting picked on, and I kind of disagree with you. Simply because MMA picked Paul.
So, just to interrupt you really quickly, just so we can explain for anybody that's not familiar with the format,
Oh yeah.
the way that it works, is that everybody has 3 lives, and the players kind of go in a particular order and determine who they want to play. So, the first player who ended up picking was MMA. So he picks of the remaining 5 players, so there's 6 players total, and you pick a player that you want to challenge. And at the end of the day, $2,400 is split up amongst all the people that still have at least 1 life left over. And one quick change up from the last time the event was held with Puck is that every single time you win a series or you take a game or you take a series off of a player, you actually get $100. So now, Puck, you were saying that last time you kind of got picked on. Every single player picked you for the first day until you were eliminated. But you're saying that that's still happening this time.
I see it, but I see it changing based upon maybe the new rule being set in place as well. Like if you look at it, it's like MMA picked Polt lost, Sangre Gu tried Polt lost, and then Polt finally won a game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the next series, and the Hydra picked a Zerg, maybe because he felt more comfortable in the matchup. Like if he's winning money per win, he'd want to win more games. So
Yeah.
like, it kind of makes sense to me. And then maybe Solar felt like didn't agree with Pote's style, so he wanted to try someone that he felt stronger against. So I don't know.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
how
that's
they
kind of
system.
interesting. I guess I can kind of see the pattern. The only thing that's interesting to me is like Donrigo picking Polt versus MMA then, right? Because Polt ended up winning the first series.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah. Oh crap.
But yeah, I can kind
Well,
of see
but
what you're saying. Like with at least after that, like Donrigo picks Polt and beats him. Polt picks
Yeah.
Donrigo as like a reverse.
yeah.
I don't know, just because Polt is Polt and wants revenge.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like I don't know.
Hmm.
But Pote definitely played the majority of the games of the day.
Yeah.
So maybe
4 out of
everyone saw him
6.
as the weakest. So
I don't know. What do you guys think about it, MaSa?
I think it's just fair picks.
Fair picks?
Yeah, it's just like fuck. But I think Solar picked MMA instead of Polt because okay, first I think Solar wanted to pick Terran because CVT is easy, and
Yeah, for Terran.
and Polt already had only one life remaining, so Solar's pretty much like okay, I'd rather just pick MMA and win instead of not eliminating Polt from the tournament.
Yeah,
But
I think
why
so too.
wouldn't you want to, right? Because if you eliminate somebody, then you get a greater distribution of the prize pool, right?
Yeah, but in Asian
Yeah, but by
culture,
only $100, I think.
yeah, but then the other guy who gets out is gonna lose more than you would gain. And if he's your friend, then no, I mean just from what I've noticed, the Koreans are like in every tournament, I guess, since the SE2 came out, if you go to them and you see who Koreans are with the whole time, they're just talking to each other the whole time, being all friendly and stuff. So I'm guessing even if they're not the best friends, they would still not try to gang up on someone for a marginal benefit at that guy's expense. So, you know, the first day, if you can avoid getting anyone out, is fine. It's inevitable in the second one, I think. Well, actually, if they want to rig it, then maybe not. But in the third day, for sure. So,
Huh. That's really interesting. So, I mean, and that almost goes into the idea of, like foreigners always stick together, right? There's always that idea of like foreigners are always rooting for
well, I
other
don't know about
foreigners.
that. Oh,
Well, well, okay, I don't know how the players are handling it, but I guess I always was under the perception that there was like a mentality of foreigners versus Koreans, right? Do you guys agree with that?
well, the
And
Korean
then,
part for sure, but yeah.
not so much foreigners. I don't know.
really,
Yeah.
that's actually really interesting to me. How do you guys feel it is then? It's just a bunch of people versus Koreans?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not really like on the foreigner side, people aren't as united as they would be on the Korean side. That's what I think.
Huh, do you guys think that contributes like to the like I guess trying to meet or match the Koreans in skill, like practice wise and stuff? Like foreigners
Well,
aren't united enough or something?
I don't know. Like if you look at Korea though, like there's a lot more team houses. It's a lot more
Mhm.
easy to visit each other and
Yeah.
give help to each other. So I mean, it's a lot different in the foreign scene compared to North
Mhm.
America or Korea scene. So
Yeah,
maybe if
that's
there's
true.
more team houses, like if we all set up in California and had like 5 different team houses, it'd be another story. So,
Yeah. That makes sense. So now just on that topic, like I have another question. If you guys felt like there was another Red Bull event, let's say without like Polt or even Violet or anything, and it was all just 6 foreigners, do you guys think that we'd have the same effect then? Where
No,
players
they would gang up on someone, guaranteed.
Huh,
You said
that's
guaranteed.
Unless they're all like the best friends on the same team, maybe then no. But if everyone's on a different team, they're gonna try to
well, all
get
of these
someone out.
players are on different teams though, right? And like it's not even like all of them are currently living in Korea. Like Polt is living in America. Um is MMA living in Europe?
I think so.
I think so, yeah, right? Don Regu, I think, is in Korea. Same with Hydra. Like, then you have a mix of like Kespa players and ESF players. Like, so they're all like, in a sense, very different players, right?
But they still know each other. I mean, from a long time in the past, or most of them would. I mean, some
Huh.
of them were, if not all, were Brood War players too, right? So it's just more time to know each other. And uh, I mean, just it seems to me like for the first day, especially if one
Mhm.
person gets ganged up on, like Solar could have picked Paul to knock them out. The other Koreans might shun him for being BM or something. Because everyone else would
Wow.
just get $80 more, but Paul would lose 400.
Well, it's not
So
only that, right? It's also like it helps you day two because now if there's one less player, then you get to do your picks for like your challenges.
No, but let's say
uh,
if you picked Polt and knock him out, he's gonna hate you more.
well, on
So
day
why
two,
would
Who
you do
cares?
that?
He's gone. He's out of
yeah,
the tournament.
but in day two, if someone picks him, he'll get eliminated, and it'll seem less BM. And also in Korea, it's if you're not first place, then it's not as I mean second place. Once this massive beat me in a tournament, he's like the real loser is the second place, which was me. So I think if people think like that, I mean, in Korea especially, then they're just more concerned about whoever wins the whole thing rather than just in the first day, it'll be not as mean to do that to someone. Because if
Hmm.
Paul doesn't win the whole thing, it doesn't matter in the end. But he's not gonna hate you too, so that's nice.
Huh, that's really interesting. So I'm curious, like, is there anything that you guys would do to change the format? I guess let's start with Buck then, since I feel like you must have the most experience, kind of like thinking about this format.
What was the question? I'm so sorry.
I said, like, is there anything that you would change about this format?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to change it, really. I had a really great answer when I was there and I got knocked out, but I'm trying to reoccur that memory.
Hmm. I don't know. Hendralisk, do you have any ideas or thoughts on it?
It's an interesting format. They actually did make a subtle change this last time with the whoever they took $600 out to make it whoever wins a set gets 100. So it
Wouldn't
ends up.
that doesn't that incentivize it even more to go after the weakest link though?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter because in the end for Solar, let's say that's the only so for Solar today, he could have beat either Terran, I think. That's what he said. He's confident versus either
Mhm.
one. And then, you know, so whichever one he plays, he's gonna win anyway. So he still gets that 100 for himself.
I see, yeah.
Like, the way I see it is anything besides what they changed would have been better because if you're playing to win and you're all sitting there, you would all pick the best player the first day, right? So if you all pick the strongest player the first time, you're more likely to lose. You're gonna miss out on more money, and
Mhm.
you're gonna lose out on a life. So like the format that they changed just makes it more likely for the best player to win the whole thing. So I don't care for it. Like I'd like to have better games of everyone gaining up on the best player instead of the weakest player. Because traveling from Korea just go to North America to lose right away because everyone picked you would suck. But that's not the case this time because that's not what everyone did. But
Yeah. So I've always kind of like been wondering, or I've been thinking about this format, and what do you guys think about like maybe doing something like if a player's on their last life, and somebody else challenges them with more than one life, and they lose, like the person who challenges the player with only one life, like they would lose both like two lives or something like that. So it makes it so that trying to pick a player that's on their last life is a lot more risky, but it still has that reward factor of, well, you're knocking out a player and you're getting more money or whatever, or even like the $100 for winning the series. Like, do you guys think something like that would work? Or is it just too hard to change like any of the subtle things in the
Yeah,
format?
I don't think any of us can think of something right away. Maybe Puck,
Yeah,
but then he said he forgot from last time. So, it's the tournament
yeah.
format is still fresh compared to something else. Every other tournament is really, either like a DreamHack style or
Hmm.
groups into playoffs, anyways. And this one is, of course, different.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to see how it takes off, and whoever organizes tournaments in the future can probably draw ideas from it and use the
Yeah,
feedback that these guys would have.
yeah. Is that actually like a plus for you guys when if you ever got invited to participate or even just saw a qualifier participate in a
Well,
tournament like this that has like a very different format? Is that
yeah.
refreshing for you guys?
Well, speaking of qualifiers, this one's actually really good because it's not based on invites.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
any tournament that's totally open for qualifiers is really great, since the invites just prevents the new players from getting any exposure at all.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. So, is it a plus for you guys though to participate? Like, are you guys more likely or like more excited to participate in tournaments that have these sort of weird formats versus just like a standard bracket? Do you prefer like having something new and people experimenting with this stuff, or would you rather just stick with like regular tournament brackets? I'm wondering what it's like for the players themselves.
I think that's
It's really
already
interesting. So I wanna give it a try.
Yeah, but I think for us, for most people anyways, it would be that if they wanted to get in, they try to qualify anyways, and whatever format follows is whatever it is. I mean, no one's gonna boycott this tournament because they're saying, "Oh my God, I don't like the
Oh
format.
yeah.
No, I don't like this Red Bull. I'm thinking just gonna drink a Monster and never play in this ever again."
Puck, you were gonna say something also.
I was just saying that it's nice to have a change every once in a while.
Mhm.
So
But not something you want to see like too often with a mix up of formats.
I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it too much. Like this one was kind of unfortunate, but there's other styles of tournaments that you could do as well. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, that's totally fair. And that I think we can move on to one of our final topics. It's actually going to be something that's happening tonight at around 2:30 in the morning for Pacific and around I think 5:30 Eastern. It's going to be Pro League, which is going to be KT Ulster versus SK Telecom 1. Have you guys been following Pro League? I know MaSa before the show started, you were talking about how you were checking out Pro League. How do you feel about this series that's going to be going down tonight?
Um, well, literally everybody's hyped up in Korea because of the SKT versus KT, like the rivalry they
Mm-hmm.
had since the Brood War. And it's like the first time they have in like what, multiple years.
Yeah, it's
So
been a
just for
while.
that being it's really hyped up, and it's sad to see that Fantasy can't play. Maybe if it goes ace and he
Ace
might
match.
play, but
No,
for
I
now
don't think
he's not
so.
playing, so I'm a bit sad about that. I wanted to see him play because I feel like he can be the ace of SKT, but feels like Surgeon processes are too strong.
Yeah, speaking of which, I mean, SKT1 not sending out a single Protoss and Zerg, or sorry, a single Terran. It's all Protoss and Zerg. Three
I think
Protoss, three Zerg.
that's what they've been doing recently for some time now.
For
So
everything.
Yeah.
I think they're not gonna discriminate you based on the race. It's just based on the in-house tournament performance.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's just unfortunate for Fantasy that he's on a team with the Protosses who are like all champions and the
Mm-hmm.
Zergs who are the same, I guess, except for Dark. But they say Dark is like a practice Banjwa, so too bad. Yeah.
How are you feeling about that, Buck? Do you kind of agree with that, or
I don't really watch
Pro League?
any Pro League, to be honest. Like,
Mhm.
I have nothing to say about this. I
That's fair.
maybe watched one finals
It comes on pretty
last
late.
year, so
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, I would love to just get quick thoughts then from MaSa and hendralisk, and maybe Puck if you're feeling up to it, like how you think each of these matches will go. So I guess let's just start off with MaSa. I guess just going through like how you feeling about each match
I think Sulky for the first map.
over stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stats is, I feel like he's just one of those players who comes out once in a while with special build and win, but I don't think it might not work against Sulky. And Parting is gonna beat Flash, considering he has beaten him all the time since like a year and a half ago. So I think that's gonna take into the matter. And then I really have no ideas about PvP and ZVZ, but I think Classic, if the game gets to that, Classic is gonna beat TY. Classic seems to be really good in PvT.
Hmm. So you don't think that a Terran, like either Flash or TY, are gonna win?
Nope.
Okay. I'm really interested, like merry-go-round especially. Like, I think that'll at least maybe I have a terrible perception of the map, but I always felt like it was a decent map for Terran. Do you feel like it's more just parting is better, or is there something about the map that you disagree with on what I said?
It's decent map, but it's
Hmm.
you like even though it's decent map, you see a lot of processes building Terran, like a lot.
Hmm.
It's so I don't really even I would say it's 55 to 45, even if it was decent for Terran.
Hmm.
But that 45 is pretty huge still. So
Got it. And then same thing for Classic versus TY.
well, classic his builds are really solid and he just comes out the death ball. So I think he's gonna defend everything with the 3 bases. On Frost, it's easier to defend than merry-go-round. So
All right, Henry, how you feeling?
Yeah, I think Soki's gonna win.
Are you okay?
And yeah, I'm okay.
Do you need to
And
staple your mouth shut?
I think Soki parting are both gonna win. Then Zest will win, and then Dark will win, and then Su will win. Well, that does sound really one-sided though. But
Yeah.
that's what I think for the players, and SKT should take it, I believe. No, so Sue's in the Skype Zerg's chat group for like that we made a long time ago, and he said he can't even practice another matchup until this thing is done. So I'm pretty sure everyone in the house is just really focused on their own match. I guess KT would be too, but just goes to show how serious they're about it. They have one map, but they're practicing it all day since it was announced. And Sue said he had something special he can't lose, so maybe if we go by his
Oh.
word, then SKT should take it.
Hey man, that's enough for me. You got the inside scoop on Sue, so I'm looking forward to that match. Hopefully, hopefully it'll get to that point. But yeah, and Puck, no comments.
I just want Stu to win.
You just want Sue to win.
That's the only person
Yeah.
I'm cheering for.
I think a lot of people want Sue to win. But I am kind of curious, like if it does go to the ace match, I know some of you guys were saying probably won't. Who do you guys see coming out? Because I know MaSa, you were saying you want fantasy. That's like what your heart says, but brain's telling you otherwise.
if it ever goes to Ace,
Mm-hmm.
they are gonna expect Flash or Zest, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Parting has great sense in PvP, and if it's Flash, I believe he's gonna win. So I think it's gonna be Parting. But Rain has been really good too, and he said he wanna be, he wanna prove as himself being the ace of SKT. So it might be Rain again.
All right, Pendulous.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Sue because he aced it in the previous round and then he lost. Oh, actually, don't know. That might have changed because never mind. I take that back because I don't think just based on that the coach would say no if he's feeling really on point that day. But I think it is a Protoss, so either Rain or Parting.
Mm-hmm.
I think also depends on who wins as the Protoss. Like if someone just lost, then
Yeah.
that obviously affects it. But then it also depends on who they think the other team's ace would be and which Protoss would feel more confident versus him. So it's really complex, hard to say. I don't think it'll go to ace. I think SKT will just win it before.
All right. Sounds good. But guys, you can catch Pro League. That's going to be the next event that's live on the TL calendar. So I could go over the time zones for when it's starting, but just go to teamliquid.net and look at the calendar, and you'll see how many hours it is until it'll start. And that'll be a much easier thing. But we're going to be moving on to the next topic of the show, and that's actually going to be the topic for show and tell. So we have this lovely little show and tell segment where I'm actually asked all the players to bring a topic onto the show. I think we had a little bit of a maybe a misunderstanding, or like I think it was a little bit short notice. So I don't think that they all actually have a topic to bring to the show. This is going to be something that hopefully we'll have more ironed out in the future. But does anyone actually have a topic brought for today's discussion?
I don't
Anything you
remember-
want to talk about? Puck?
I don't remember anything about this.
Oh
I
no.
was at the computer.
That's okay. Yes, you're excused. You're excused. That's fine. And I know again, this has been on short notice, so. MaSa, do you happen?
Next
happen
time,
to-
next time.
Next time, hendralisk.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it next time because I had a topic, but I didn't write it down, so I don't have any backup topics. But with that being said, I think that we're pretty much going to be wrapping up the show, moving on to the Q&A section. So, guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask any of these three fine gentlemen, please go ahead and just send out a tweet with the hashtag NorthStarSC. That's a North Star and the letters SC at the end. And we'll be taking questions from Twitter. And of course, if you want to just post them in the Twitch chat, that also works as well. I think we'll be prioritizing Twitter if the questions come through there. So if you want a priority, feel free to ask them there. But yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm just going to ask you guys some questions that I have on my mind. So, Puck, I do want to ask, if you had to be on another team outside of IVD, why would it be Solaris Gaming? All right, good answer.
I don't know.
MaSa, boxers or briefs?
If they get Boxer as coach, I would go definitely.
All right, good answer. All right, Henry, kill,
Yep.
marry, and sleep with the members of this show.
Whoa, I get the hardest question.
Guys, please ask your questions in the chat quickly.
I would kill
Um,
I don't have
Ask
any more
a
questions.
question.
I don't have any more questions to kill time.
Okay, I'll choose kill MaSa because he always beats me in the Toronto tournaments. That way I'll win them. And then marry Feardragon because then you can host Breaking Outs but only have me in it. So yeah. Good.
That's a subtle way of just leaving out the last one. Sleep
No, that's the one you want to avoid if it's
Oh.
like people of your own. Or yeah, whatever.
I think that would go lovely. So hopefully we have some questions. I'm taking a look at the Twitch chat and seeing if anyone is around asking any questions. Yeah, I definitely agree with. Oh my god, that is a really hard name to say. OG Endra Seer. Okay, yeah. Next time we will actually, and I'll remind everyone to ask the questions actually at the beginning of the show, and then you guys will have a lot more time to actually submit the questions and put them through Twitter. But let's see. Do we have any good questions coming in from Twitter or the chat? We have one from Lucky Duck @_ Lucky Duck. Let's see. Besides Pro League, what event has everyone been looking forward to? So Puck, any events that you've been looking forward to besides Pro League? Ignoring Pro League.
Honestly,
currently.
I'm looking forward to go to Toronto.
I am Toronto.
Yeah, I didn't qualify for pool play, but I can still do open bracket. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Toronto's just also been one of the stages I've also wanted to go to as a kid. So
Hmm. All right, cool. Anything in particular that you're looking forward to about it? Just Canadian crowd or?
sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm road tripping to it, so that'd make me feel
Oh, nice.
like it'll suck coming back because I
Mhm.
don't know. If I go out and lose, all I'm gonna want to do is practice, and it'll be like 20-hour drive, but that's fine. I really want to go on a road trip sometime in my life, so might as well do it now, since they're so close to each other. Like,
Are you gonna be able to play after a 20-hour drive?
Yeah, it's like a 14-hour. I'm leaving a day earlier,
Hmm.
and I'll be arriving in Detroit for Rebel Detroit. So it's not quite 20. It'll be 14-hour drive, and then I'll be sitting there for a day. I'll play that. But it's only like a 5-hour drive, or maybe 6 to Toronto from there. So
All right, cool. MaSa, any events that you're looking forward to?
Right now,
Hmm.
I should start practicing for LAN Asian. I'm probably gonna meet Henry there and
No, you
beat
don't
him.
have to.
I have to beat him, but I heard Hawk and Deathrow are coming too. So my Protoss against Protoss has been really weak. against Zerg as well. All my matchups has been really rusty. I gotta bring myself back into the game, so anything I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
That's fair. I'm sure you're also looking forward to IM
Yep,
Toronto.
of course.
Yeah. Canada. Wait, did you just say your purse?
Of course, of course.
Oh, of course. I think you said my purse. Like it's already won. It's already in the bag. Henry, any events that you're looking forward to that Moss is not going to?
Yeah, for this month for me it's just Lion Nation, which is in a week, and then IM and Red Bull. Because after that I have no idea what's going on in NA, so those three.
Yeah, that's like a side complaint I have. People don't announce events far enough in advance, or like it's not. There's no like good way to at least look at that information. I feel it's sometimes really hard to tell what's going to be happening more than 2 weeks down the line.
Hey guys.
All right. Well, cool. And we actually have another question. And hopefully, guys, sorry, I think in the future we'll try and also grab the users' names when we grab these questions. But, oh, actually, do we have the usernames? Yeah, we do have the usernames. So that last question was from Team Uninstall. That is a really brutal team name. Next question is from Albino Fat. Is how did Puck get so good looking?
I have no idea. It just happened one day. I just woke up and
Just one day.
beautiful.
You weren't born that way. It happened eventually.
It just happened overnight, literally.
Oh. Oh, okay, guys. Sorry about that. That question was from Team Uninstall. The previous question was from Andre Castileo. So thank you, Andre Castileo and Team Uninstall for the questions. Next question is from Albino Fat. And it is for hendralisk, actually. Do you think you have what it takes to win an upcoming major tournament? If not, what is holding you back?
Short answer is Koreans. And then even versus like any players, I struggle versus a few. So it'll be really tough, but I'm not really set on winning a big event. Just if I can finish to my expectations, whichever I do. And for smaller events, obviously, I want to do better than I would in like MLG or something. So, yeah, I mean, not losing sleep over not winning IEM or DreamHack. Just if I can perform to my own expectations, that'd be nice. That's all I'm looking for.
What are those expectations then?
So like for a tournament, I give myself realistic finishes. So for the last Red Bull, I wanted to get top 8, but then I lost in round of 16 to Huck. That was yeah, so sort of like that, for example. And it's different depending on which one. So yeah, no clear cutout answer, except that I'm not looking to win any tournament. If I can somehow get to the finals for something, that'd be awesome. But as of now, I don't have the like team house environment or 10-hour practice schedules to go on. So
Yeah.
you can't, and I'm not like a Mozart or something of SC2. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. And just taking a look at the Twitch chat, we also have some questions being asked from there, so we'll try and take some of those. Kavik TV, MaSa, you might know Kavik, from Root Gaming asks, MaSa, how will it feel to win IEM Toronto so easily?
So easily.
So easily.
How would it feel?
How will it feel? Not how
will
would
it?
it.
Oh,
He has faith, man.
how will it? I have no idea. Maybe I can just show that Terran can win something.
All right.
I don't know. I really can't really. I'm not a creative person, so I can't really imagine stuff. Well, yeah.
that's fine. But at least you're feeling confident about it. Hopefully. Hendralisk. The chat is asking, how does the banana peel taste? They've also been posting this image that I'm not gonna ask Curran to bring it up. I'm gonna leave it. We'll leave it up to Curran if he wants to bring it up on the stream, or everyone on the VODs will just be very confused.
It's just me eating a banana, but then Did that once on my stream because someone said if they donated like $50, then you have to do that. I'm like, okay. And I didn't get sick or anything, so whatever. But it tasted really bad. I wouldn't do that normally.
Was it like a rotten banana?
No, it's just normal banana.
Just normal banana.
But the
All
skin
right.
is like getting discolored from getting put in the air too long.
Follow hendralisk on Twitch, guys. You can watch him eat bananas, apparently.
Yeah, next time I do it, it'll be without the peel though. So
You can eat bananas
Sorry.
with the peel on?
no, I did that one time.
Maybe
That
more
sounds-
later.
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it wasn't that pleasant. I
It's
watched
supposed to
it
be
though.
healthy for you, actually.
Is it
Eat
really?
the peels.
Yeah, I actually Googled it before I did. Yeah.
Make sure you weren't crazy. All right. Well, another question from Junho C asking Puck. I don't know if it's already been asked, but are you worried about WEC coming through with prize money after Kespo pulled out? So you're worried about the prize?
You kind of have to, but it's not my highest concern. I mean, as long as I get there and I get to play in the tournament, I feel like of all the tournaments I've been in, as long as I get into playing shit, I could possibly have the highest chance of winning that one, just because the competition doesn't look nearly as hard as it would for like WCS or an MOG or a DreamHack, because there's not as many Koreans. I mean, there's Jim and Snoot and Bunny, but I feel like I'd have higher chances against them than I would like any top Korean. So
That's actually really cool, because I have to ask then, as a follow-up question, on behalf of, I think it was Juno C. I'm trying to remember who asked that. I'm so sorry. But do you then put like a price, do you have like a monetary value of winning a premier tournament then? Even if like you don't get paid out?
I just want to win a major tournament. Like, that's one of my goals. Like I could care less about the money as long as I win. Like that's I want to be able to say that I won a major tournament. You know?
All right, cool. Let's see. I think that might be most of the questions that we can cover. One last, we'll take one last question from Pulse Reaction. He asks, what hotkey layout do you guys use? And this is actually something I think that maybe Jack Attack would be really interested in, as I know he does a lot of work with hotkeys. So, Henry, what hotkey layout do you use?
I just used the standard one, but I rebound some of the keys. That's pretty much it. Yeah, nothing special.
MaSa?
Yeah, nothing special, just normal ones. I just changed 7 to what's this thing beside 1?
Oh.
That stuff.
So, oh, 7. Oh, I see, yeah. So
I
you
just
use
changed
key.
that around so it's easier for me to click, and
Mhm.
that's about it.
Standard hotkeys then. Puck?
Mhm.
Any drastic changes?
Mine are all over. I don't know. I use spacebar as 8, 9 is tilde, then 8 is 0. I mean, you could just leave 8 as 8, I guess. But
Yeah.
I also changed the location keys to go from F1 to F8. Then instead of having to do a control shift, it's just all shift to set all of them. And, yeah. I use all of them, so.
I'm actually curious, like, have you guys ever thought about changing up your hotkey setups? Like, to quote-unquote optimize it or whatever? As, again, like, I'm sure Jack Attack would love to do with more people.
I'm already too used to this, so I never thought about anything else.
I guess
feel like if you're going to do it, you might as well do it sooner than later, unless you have like WCS going on. Simply because it will take time to get used to, and I feel like the best way to go about it is playing people that are far worse than you. Simply because you generally have the motive to always win every single game you play, and if you're losing the people that are similar level or worse than you, and you can't win a single game because you're using new hotkeys, you're going to get tilted fairly easily and you'll stop using them. Whereas if you're playing like diamonds, it's very easy to force yourself to learn the new hotkey.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I'm sure, yeah, I think maybe that's what you do when you get knocked out, or if you don't make it into a season of WCS, go change your hockey layout at that point. Because what do you have for the
it's
next few months?
It's something that you should look into your future, and you should look at yourself, and you should be like, could I actually ever use a new hotkey? And if the answer is yes, then the sooner you do it, the better, because you might as well just get them all over with at once, and instead of adding new hotkeys all the time. Because if every single time that you have to backtrack and learn new stuff, you're setting yourself back from good practice, like mechanics wise, at the highest level.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up then with the Q&A. Sorry, guys, we're going to be probably taking more questions another time. I think that we started half an hour late, but I think we've gone on for about 2 hours, which I think is a fairly good stopping point. So I want to leave a little bit of time for shout-outs and everything. And I do want to also, of course, remind everybody that this has been the Solaris Gaming Podcast. So if you did enjoy the show, please do consider following the channel over here on Twitch, as well as checking out youtube.com/ I think it's Solaris Gaming TV, and twitter.com/ Solaris SC2. Hendralisk, where can people catch you at?
Just on Twitter at Qual_hendralisk. And then you can watch my stream if you want. I'll tweet about it whenever I stream.
He never streams, so don't get your hopes up.
It's been like 2 weeks almost. Oh my god. But soon.
You were
Trademark.
streaming a lot for a little while. It was
Yeah.
like a period.
And I don't stream during like big tournaments, like if Destiny is happening. Just it'll detract from their viewership, and also I won't get too many viewers too.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's fair. MaSa, where can people catch you at?
Follow me at twitter.com/rootmasa. My Twitch is the same, twitch.tv/rootmasa. So
Cool. And Puck.
You can follow me at PuckSC2 on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitch at PUCKK. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
All right. And shout out to the 3 teams that these guys are on: Complexity, Root, and IVD. I'll do that one for you. You guys can remember that next time. Sorry, I'm just kidding. But regardless, guys, thank you so much. My name is Feardragon, and of course, our lovely observer, Current TV, has been doing all the broadcasting and all the cool overlay stuff and work, and as well as also pulling all the questions from Twitter. So big shout out to @Current TV. You can follow him on Twitter. And of course, again, check out Solaris Gaming. Follow the channel if you enjoyed it, and if you're watching this over on YouTube, the Twitch channel that you can catch this live at is twitch.tv/Solaris Gaming TV. If you're concerned that you can't normally catch the show at this time, don't worry. The show is it was still kind of to figure out a good time that we want to be broadcasting at. So if you have any opinions, feel free to leave them in the whatever like threads there are on Reddit, Team Liquid, whatever. Tweet at Solaris Gaming at times that work, whatever you want to do to get the message through, and I'm pretty sure that we will be listening to that. And of course, if you have any feedback on how you thought the show went.
The brackets for the Destiny just came out, by the way, as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right, trying to keep everyone else longer as well.
That's actually. Do you guys want to talk about it really quickly? We just know who's playing who now, and it's actually hilarious. I almost feel like this is rigged. Okay.
I thought it was.
You guys.
I thought about mentioning about this. 4 foreigners in the bottom and 4 Koreans at top.
Yeah. What?
And then I thought it wasn't gonna happen because Group A and B, and then C and D are grouped up usually.
I think Major will make it to the finals, and probably anyone could from the top. I don't know.
I would say.
I want to cheer for APOC, but I mean, I feel like he is the weakest link on the group right now. But but Hux doesn't like TVP at all. Major historically beats Kane every single time they play, so I would expect Major to make it.
All right, fair enough. Angelisk, any thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, short and sweet answer. Thank you for that contribution. I'm just kidding. But all right, cool. I think that's actually going to be it, though. So, guys, thank you so much again. And hopefully you guys will decide to tune in for the next episode of the North Star. We are out. Have a wonderful night, guys, and enjoy the rest of the week as well as Pro League tonight.